Well, welcome, ultimate music teachers and musicians. Who wants to go to music camp? I do. What about going to adult music camp? Woohoo! Ever wondered what it would be like if you could take a week off and just practice and learn and perform with like-minded music lovers? Me too. I'm Glory St. Germain from Ultimate Music Theory, and my very special guest today is Rami Bar-Niv, international world-class concert pianist who created this unique opportunity in his exclusive Rhapsody Piano Camp for adults. Yay! From beginners to professional performers to teachers. Today, Rami is taking us on a backstage pass to meet some of the campers at the Rhapsody Piano Camp and hear of their experiences. And we're gonna join them live at camp. So pack your music bag and get ready for Rhapsody Piano Camp for adults. So Rami, welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to be here, and you catch us in the middle of camp.
Right. And I'm so excited to hear, about what's happening at the Rhapsody Piano Camp. But first, I know your very first piano camp was held back in 2006. And musicians are loving it, and it obviously still continues today. Can you tell us a little bit about the Rhapsody Piano Camp and how it works?
It works. People get lessons, a lesson a day. We have master classes in the evenings. We go out to eat occasionally together, sometimes dinners together. We have also guest teachers giving us master classes, and between practicing all day and classes, we do some stretches too.
Yes. And how long is the camp? Like, is it one day or
The camp is a week. We start Sunday night with a get together, and we finish Saturday late afternoon with our recital.
Oh, that's
So
lovely.
it's a week.
It's a week, and you know what? It's so much fun. I remember being, a young teenager going to music camp, and there's always stories. What stays at camp, what happens at camp stays at camp. But today, we're not going to keep those secrets because some of your campers are joining us live today, and
Right.
I think one of the things that's the most fun is hearing all of the stories from the campers themselves. And so just so that we understand, so where are you right now, Rami? Because I know you travel all over the world, but where is camp right now?
Camp right now is in Utica, upstate New York, in a suburb called New Hartford.
Yes.
And it is in a beautiful piano store called Center Stage Piano, and the logo is "We Speak Pianos."
That's pretty perfect for you. That's very
Yes,
perfect. I'm going
yes.
to ask our viewers today if any of you have been at music camp. Go ahead and share in the comments with us. Have you ever gone to music camp? Because I can't wait to hear what you have to say if you've gone to music camp and why did you want to go? So, Rami, can we meet some of your piano campers so we can hear a little bit about the what they're experiencing at piano camp?
Yes, here is Nancy. She's been my student for some years, and she practically didn't miss a camp since inception.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really fun to meet campers because it's always great to hear stories. Well, hi, Nancy.
Hi there.
So you've been to a lot of these camps now, and maybe you can share with us, well, first of all, where you're from and what brings you to Rhapsody Camp.
I am now living in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I come to camp for a bunch of reasons. Primarily to have lessons with Rami, but
Yes.
also to play piano ensemble, which I can't do in Williamsburg.
Yes.
And then I really love the social part of it being together with other people who love the piano as much as I do. And finally, that I get to play piano all day long without any other obligations or responsibilities. Nothing but me and the piano.
That is a big one, isn't it? I think that's worth going to camp right there, because so often our life gets so busy, and it's time you're taking for you. Like, this is me time. I'm going to camp. This is what I love to do. Just let me learn and experience and share and laugh and tell stories and walk away with some really great tools that you can implement now. And maybe you can share with us, what's been your experience this week in learning?
Well, you have to understand, I've been playing the piano for over 60 years. I've been taking lessons from Rami for nearly 20 years. But every time I take more lessons, he's reminding me of things that I haven't thought about. He's giving me tips like, of course, I know how to play 3 against 2, but what Rami is reminding me is to keep counting tickety, tickety all the time.
Yes, that's a really good trick, because you're right. That is probably one of the biggest challenges, Nancy, is all those little rhythmic aspects. And sometimes when you can just drill down on one thing and focus on improving that, okay, now you've learned that skill. Now you're ready for the next one. So, no one can take one piano lesson and know everything. We have to keep coming back. And maybe, you could share, how has your thinking about playing changed, like while you're attending camp?
Well, one thing I should mention is that we have a master class with somebody who's not Rami. Yes. And that is great for me to get a different, refreshing point of view. I myself play a lot of Bach, and Tina Tovia, who does the other master class, has a more romantic approach. In fact, she nicknamed me the woman who doesn't pedal, because I use almost no pedal. Well, I am playing a piece by Grieg, and she just so went into it herself and gave me such a lovely point of view on it. So that is another really worthwhile thing besides the lessons from Rami.
Yes. And you saw me kind of smiling, because sometimes we do, when we get into a certain style, we just, don't step outside our comfort zone. And so I think it's fantastic that you're there and you're going, okay, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to step outside my comfort zone and maybe learn something new. And you never know how that is going to create another passion within your playing.
Maybe I'll use the pedal.
Maybe. That'll be your challenge, Nancy. Use the pedal. So now, so just before we move on to Joni, maybe just share with us quickly, what was your biggest takeaway from camp this time?
I have 2 fabulous concrete takeaways. Okay. Although I play lots of Bach, I have never opened the 3-part inventions. And one of the students played a 3-part invention, Joni. And I said, Joni, and I said, I'd like to do that. Well, would you believe in this camp, there are 3 copies that people have brought of the 3-part inventions. So I borrowed 1 copy, and I'm going to take away a 3-part invention. And the other fabulous takeaway is that one of the campers lives an hour from me, and she will now be my student.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. And that's why it's so amazing to network and attend live events, because we meet people. Like, how ironic that she lives an hour away from you, and yet maybe you would have never found each other had you not have camp together. So, well, bravo. I'm excited for you. So now she's going to challenge you too and say, oh, and where's your pedal, Nancy?
Well said, touche.
Yeah, you'll have an accountability partner. Thank you so much for sharing that, Nancy.
Sure thing.
I'm going to reach out to our viewers now and say, what is one thing that you would love to learn at camp? So go ahead and share with us. We are at Rami Bar-Niv's Rhapsody Piano Camp, and we're sharing stories from the actual campers there. And our next camper here is Joni. Hey, Joni.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. So tell us where you're from and what brings you to Rhapsody Camp.
I'm from New York City, and I started playing piano when I was 9, and it took It was just one of those things. I'd tell my parents, please call me in so I can go practice. And I was a music major in New York. And then I became a school teacher and taught music in the elementary school. And after that, I took early retirement after 20 years, and now I'm a professional accompanist.
Wow. And so as an accompanist, I mean, you have a lot of challenges because you need to be able to hear who you're accompanying, whether it's, you know, a vocalist or another featured solo instrumentalist. And so what has your experience at camp been that's maybe different from the lessons back home?
That's a good question. I was trained classically, and when I began teaching, and I lived in Florida, I live in Florida now. There was no venue for classical music, and I even had a colleague tell me, a fellow music teacher, tell me that, Joni, you're going to have to learn some popular music. You know, kids don't want to hear classical music.
Yes.
So I was getting my master's degree at the time in education, and I wrote my thesis on a beginner teacher's music, a music guide for a beginning teacher.
Yes.
And I created my own program. I was left alone. They let me do what I wanted. I had choruses, and it was a wonderful experience. Unfortunately, they're phasing out music in Florida. Art, music, everything is technology and computers.
Yeah.
So that's why I've come to piano camp, because I come once a year at this time, and I have friends here. I've met all these wonderful people, and Rami is fantastic.
Yes.
I always come, and today I'm at the point where, like, oh, I'm not going to do anything right. Oh my goodness, I've got so much to learn, but that's just par for the course.
Yeah. One of the takeaways that I have heard you say, which I just really want to compliment you, is that number one, not only have you pursued your own education and achieved great success in what you do, but you are continuing in your own professional development. And I think that's really key. As an educator, we just never stop learning. And the more we learn, the more we realize what we don't know. And so it really motivates us to keep going. And even though you've had this extensive background in music, you're here, but doesn't it bring you joy?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. And this group of folks, they're just wonderful. I wish I lived up here, or they lived near me. I wish I could see them more than once a year.
Yes. And so what's going to be your takeaway now? You're almost done camp. What's going to be one of your takeaways?
Well, like Nancy said, after I take all these lessons with Rami and master classes, but after a while, you kind of forget things and you go back to your old habits. It's just one more time where, when I start going back to my old habits, I hear Rami say, use less pedal. I hear Nancy say, use less pedal.
Yes. Yeah. And
so hopefully I'll be a better piano pedaler.
Yeah. And I think too, whenever we even have one takeaway, then we've learned something, and we can only just progress so fast. I mean, we can't absorb everything and change everything. So I think when you have one takeaway and you go, okay, this is what I'm going to work on. And, and you can share that with your, your students or other people that you're connecting with too. And it also develops a better ear, doesn't it? Because now you're really aware when you're listening to other performances, because you're experienced now. You're well versed in not only your own performance, but just enjoying the music. You can say, "Wow, I love like they're so intricate in their pedaling." So that's a great takeaway. Thank you so much for sharing that, and have continued fun at camp.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to talk to you.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for our viewers today. Whether you're watching the live presentation with us or whether you're just watching the replay, Janice says, I love the idea of playing with others. Duets, ensembles sounds great. Absolutely, Janice. And I think that's one of the things that's so much fun about camp. So I want to welcome Carrie. So Carrie, tell us, where you're from and what brings you to camp.
I'm from Texas. I guess the whole reason I like to come to the camp because it's nice to have a lesson with Rami, and also it's nice to get a break from my kids. I have like a 3-year-old and 8-year-old, so it's just so nice to do what you like for a whole week without kids, and without like getting interrupted, like saying, "Mom, I need this. Mom, I need this." So it's nice.
I hear you. I hear you. I think one of the keys is, and why it's so wonderful that you're there, Carrie, is that we really need to uplift ourselves in order to be a good mom, in order to be a good teacher, in order to be a good partner or a good friend even, is we need just to rejuvenate our own passion. And when you're passionate about music and performing and you just get this week to learn and study, it just makes you more joyful, right? You're just ready to do the next thing. And are you an adult learner or have you taken music lessons your whole life?
Yes, I'm an adult learner. I started taking lesson with my 8-year-old son together. So we go to like recital, we take lessons together. So it's been a fun journey for both of us. So
well, what a great mom you are. I think that's fantastic that you are learning together, and it's a great opportunity for you to experience, what your child is learning and how challenging it can be. And is this your first time at camp?
Yes, it's actually my second time.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I learn a lot every time I'm here, so I'm just happy to be back again.
And so what are you going to share? So just in closing, what are you going to share with your son? Like, what did you learn that you can say, hey, I learned something here?
Just all the technique, because I feel like if you don't have the right technique, a lot of times you can injure yourself easily. So that's something I'm gonna, make sure my kids having the right technique when, because as a beginner, you don't know what you're doing until somebody say like, "Oh, what you're doing is incorrect. You have to do a certain movement." Yeah, so I like that.
Yes. And, as a music teacher myself, I realize how important it is to learn the technique so that you don't have injury and that you're playing. It just makes it so much easier, right?
Yeah, you want to start it with right habit, not like a wrong habit. So.
Yes, and you're doing the right thing, because oftentimes if I have a transfer student that maybe has not developed any of those good habits, it's difficult to undo all of that and now start from scratch. So good for you for doing it the right way the first time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, and you have fun.
Thank you.
One of the things that I think is really key in learning is that we actually take time for ourselves. And I'm going to ask our viewers here today. I see that we've got Lorne is on, and Lorne is a fantastic coach. And I want to say welcome to Lorne, and thanks for watching. And as a coach, sometimes we are really aware. Coach is like a teacher. They really guide us down the path of success. What is your goal? What do you want to do? Whether it's a coach or whether it's your teacher, they're there to kind of support you all the way. And Chris, maybe you can share with us, maybe just where you're from and how your coach, your teacher, Rami has really engaged you this week at camp. So where are you from, first of all?
I actually am from this area in Utica, New York. I teach in this location. This is my 12th year. I had a baby in between, so I'm in and out, and so he comes here in October as well. So I see him a couple of times a year. I take a couple of lessons, and I've actually learned a lot. It does help me with my teaching a lot.
Yes.
With, like Carrie said, with technique, and I had an arm injury. I had tendonitis for a year, and he helped me with that, like arm positioning, and he still catches me at it because it's an old habit, and You just have to have constant reminders for that.
Yes. And it's so fantastic that not only are you a teacher, but that as a student, sometimes we just aren't aware of our own bodies. And when I was working on my ARCT and practicing for hours and hours and hours every day, I developed like this big lump in my hand, not attractive.
Oh.
But it was just from so many hours of stretching I was playing in this particular, had this big glissando and ended with like an interval of a tenth. Now I have big hands, so I could hit it, but it was still absolutely stretching it. And it was painful. I mean, I have a choice because you're coming up to a performance, you got to nail it. So that technique, not only is it helping you, but in turn, you're going to catch your students now, right?
Right. I do actually, and especially the beginners, because you got to catch the bad habits early.
Yes.
And I do remind them a lot with the dropping of the wrist and the twisting the wrong direction and, the slouching and.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. And so what level of teaching are you doing? Like what, do you teach beginners? Or are you teaching all ages?
I have, for beginners up to advanced, and I think I have 11 adults now too. And I have recitals 3 times a year for the kids and twice a year for the adults. And it's a lot of fun. And a lot of the stuff that I do here with Rami and the ensembles that I do with the other students too, I do that with my students as well. I love to do the duets and the trios, and we have access to 2 pianos because we're in a piano store, so that's kind of fun, and the kids like that. So
yes. One of the things that I'm always so passionate about is when one of my students forgets their books, and in my piano bench, I have all different levels of duet books. So then it's reading time, and I love pulling out duet books. It's probably one of my favorite things to do is to play duets, because then you can always blame the other person if there's a wrong word. That wasn't me. It wasn't me. So, well, just in wrapping things up with you, what is maybe the one thing that you've learned at camp that you're now going to say to your students, this is what I learned, and now I want to share it with you?
Well, Rami's big on fingerings, and I think I've just been made more aware of them, and I can spot them and correct them a lot sooner than I had in the past, and I'm more aware of it myself. In fact, he caught me with something yesterday, and I just had this, oh, well, that makes total sense. It's so much easier. And he can see it sometimes where I can't. And it was a Bach Siciliano or something. It was like moving thirds with one hand. And I said, these fingerings are so awkward. And he just went, well, do this. And it made such a big difference.
Yeah.
So things like that, and wrist rotation and certain things like that, technical things.
Yeah. And it's so wonderful because so often too, when we're starting a piece, it's almost more important than anything else is just to kind of walk through it and get the fingering right before we start worrying about, the rhythm and all the rest of the things that we need to put in there. Because if the fingering is screwed up, we're just, you can't get any further. So good for you. That's a great takeaway. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, have fun with your fingering, and
thanks.
have a great rest of the day at camp. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's just really, we've heard a lot from the Rhapsody campers today, and I've taken a lot of great takeaways too. One is that it's really important to continue your own professional development. It's great to network with other teachers. It's great to learn from professionals. And it's also good to take some of those little takeaways and share them, because we truly learn when we start to teach it to others. So I think it's great if you're a teacher to take away what you've learned and then to share it with your teachers. So I want to say big welcome to Russell. Hi, Russell.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
So tell us a little bit about where you're from, Russell, and how did you land up at Rhapsody Music Camp?
I'm from New York City. I'm a pianist, a composer, and a teacher. And I took, last year I took a lesson with Rami when he was in New York. And I really liked his approach to technique, and he told me about the camp. I actually just got here today.
Yes.
So I haven't experienced the camp yet, but I'm looking forward to what's in store.
Yes.
So that's how I got here.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, you know, it's a big step sometimes just to say, I'm going to continue my education. And especially for you, I mean, people might say, well, you're already a professional. What motivated you to sign up for camp?
Well, when I had my lesson with Rami last year, I really liked how he approached techniques. I want to develop my technique, develop further virtuosity when I play,
Yes.
learn how to practice better, more efficiently. So those are all, vital things when studying music. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, I mean, you really nailed it when you said, you know, practice efficiently. If we don't have those tools, we can actually waste a lot of time. You know, there's a bad section over here. So you just always start from the beginning, and you get there and you go, and you start again, and it just really doesn't really do anything, because it's important to really implement what you've learned. And obviously you've done that in your other lessons with Rami. So tell us about your composing. What kind of music do you like to compose?
I compose. I've written things from ragtime to new age pieces, classical pieces, jazz sounding pieces. That was actually my entry into music. Before I took piano seriously, I was a composer, and then as I was composing more, I wanted to develop my ability to play music more. So
Right.
I practiced. I actually started late. I started around 14, but I practiced very hard. And I went to music school. I went to conservatory, and it's just been ever since then, just practicing 4 or 5 hours a day, composing. So
Oh, that's
everything
so
I do.
So, well, congratulations on that. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, that you started at 14, kind of getting a little more serious into it, because sometimes as, teenagers, even though we have the passion, like that little burning desire inside of us to do something, we think, well, my friends started piano lessons when they were 6. And so it's too late. But, I'm glad you're saying that out loud, because it really does encourage others that are maybe have a teenage, son or daughter that says, Mom, I want to take some music lessons. I want to write music rather than just do everything on the computer. I actually want to play. And now you're giving them that palette in your story by sharing it. It really inspires others to say, hey, I want to go to camp. It's not too late. You
just emphasize the importance of taking actual lessons versus like YouTube lessons. I've seen students do that, and they don't learn correctly. Yeah.
Well, because I think it certainly is a resource, and that's fantastic. But I think there is still something to be said for having the one-on-one coaching time, so that they can say, well, listen, what exactly do you want to accomplish? Okay, you're an entertainer, or you're a composer, you're a performer. Okay, let me help you with that particular technique. Some people don't have problems with their wrists, and others do. So I still like to teach one-on-one, so I can say, little pat on the back, good job, and it's just fun to be a part of that. And also for yourself, I mean, you've been teaching in the public school, and were you teaching music in the public school, or how did that work?
I teach in the public school, music, yes. I also have private students that I teach as well.
Yes.
I do both. Yeah.
And are you teaching composition as well as just reading and?
No, I don't. I don't teach composition to my students, but I will teach piano skills. Especially in the public system where they have lots of keyboards, I'll teach a lot of keyboard skills, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little doses of composition here and there, but that's not the primary focus.
Right. Well, I hope you have a really great time hanging out with the superstar performer Rami, and maybe you guys will end up doing some duets together.
That'd be great. Sure. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Did you want to pass on the mic to Miss Beverly?
Hello.
Hi, Beverly.
Hi.
So I see some of our viewers out here have just left us some comments, and John says, I play the piano. Well, John, maybe it's time that you went to camp. I play for fun. I play Fur-Elise, my favorite. Well, we all do have favorite styles, as I've been hearing from all of the great Rhapsody Piano Campers. So Beverly, where are you from, and what brings you to camp?
Well, I've traveled a ways. I live in Virginia on an island, Gwen's Island, off the Chesapeake Bay. And I found Rami through social media, and I followed a couple websites, and I appreciated his comments. And I was very lucky that he came to and had a master class and a concert in Virginia, so I got to meet him first to know prior to coming to camp, and it was really keen, a welcoming attitude, because I guess I'm an 18 months, and I hope I'm an advanced beginner. And I'm one of those YouTube people as well. So I have a lot to unlearn, which this camp has helped me do that. It's just been a great experience to put faces, to meet someone in person, and it's just been great lessons. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Well, and I'm glad that you talk about sort of the social aspect of it, because sometimes playing piano, it can be pretty lonely. You're just there, you're practicing, you're by yourself, and you may go for a lesson and have one lesson a week. But when you get to be part of camp, there's a social aspect of it where I think you truly support each other. I mean, even the interviews that I've been doing with the campers today, we've got everyone who started when they were 6 years old to receiving their masters, to someone who's composing, to, I think it was Nancy, who doesn't even use the pedal, to,
No.
We really have seen everything, and we're all there to support each other. So tell me what's the social aspect of camp? Let's have a couple of stories here.
Well, not so much that they're stories, because I was cautious about attending because I did not feel that I had the background and preparation, and I was assured by him several times. In fact, he reminded me to stop asking, because he had originally told me once that it was okay to come and to quit asking. But but that's the type of person I was seeking, the reassurance, and guess what? I got it. Yeah. And so that's a strong thing to receive. That's a gift. I've never played in front of people, period. Yeah. And I have twice now. If I take nothing else back, that to me is an accomplishment that I'll carry. But there's a extremely group of talented people, and while they're not competitive, I know what they like. I hear it. It's so neat to be in the background and hear the music from each room. It's touching to me. Yeah. But one of the best things, besides my lesson, which I thoroughly enjoy, it is truly one-on-one. And I thought I'd be nervous, and I'm not. It's a personal lesson. But secondly, to be able to ask any of the campers, do you have, well, I know my pieces are like 1 minute, 50 seconds. So I'm exact. Do you have 2 minutes? I won't take any of your time. Just listen to me for 2 minutes. Yeah. And they do. Yeah. And they care. Yeah. So, and that, what a gift. It's just been a great experience. A nice facility, good people, and no pressure, just encouragement. And that goes a long ways with me.
It really does. Just hearing you share your story, which really resonates with me. I know now if I tell people I was so shy and so embarrassed, they would laugh, because now I'm like, blah, 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 doing interviews, doing YouTube videos, doing all of these things. And it really has evolved. But sometimes it just takes like one person just to hold your hand and say, listen, no one's going to die. You're just going to get up there and play your piece. And now you've done it twice. So like you're really moving on up the ladder.
Well, whatever. It helps when the person that tells you you're going to be okay is of a caliber that you can trust. Yes. And that was the icing on the cake.
Yes, absolutely. Well, just to know that when you go to the Rhapsody Piano Camp for adults, that it really is for beginners. It's for, professionals, as we've seen today, whether you're composing, whether you're playing jazz or pop, or you're just starting out and you just are there because you really love it. I'm so happy to hear that it was such a supportive group for you. And do you have just one aha moment that you had?
it's so, honestly, my aha moment, it might be boring to some, and it's so redundant to say fingering. But guess what? It works.
Yeah.
And I always believed it, but I did not believe how it makes the hard easier, if that's the way to say it.
Yes.
So that's my aha moment. That's my takeaway.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Well, happy fingering and keep on playing.
Fingering. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have some little comments. So John, you may be stepping out above the past the Furelise, John. Go ahead and share with us in the chat box here if you have ever attended a music camp. And I'm going to be sharing with you at in just a little bit where you can learn more about Rhapsody Piano Camp for adults that was created by Rami Bar-Niv. And I'm going to be sharing that with you in just a few minutes. But right now we are talking to Miss Sharon. Hey, Sharon.
Good afternoon. Hi.
So
Hi.
you're at camp. I'm kind of jealous because I think it's super fun to go to camp. And where are you from originally, and what brings you to Rhapsody Music Camp?
I am, I'm now from this area in Clinton, New York.
Mm-hmm.
I met Rami through the internet in 1997, so we go back a long way.
Yes.
He and I originated the piano camp at my house, which I happen to have 3 pianos, and it just worked out great.
Yes.
I don't know, it's been fun. We've kind of adapted each other.
Yeah. Well, camp is fun. And what do you think is maybe one of your favorite things about the master class?
The master classes are he brings in area local professional concertizers, and like somebody said, they may add a different look to whatever you're working on, whether it be, I remember working on a piece where his visiting pianist was helping me with just body technique, and it just made the playing that much easier, and it was noticeable to the other campers that I was having an easier time with it.
Yes.
So what's really neat about it is Nancy and I go back to the first camp, and we may not see each other, but we are so thrilled to see each other at camp.
Yes.
So
I think it's just adorable that you get to go to camp for a week, that you get to meet new friends and reconnect with old friends and have that common thread. And you can also see the progress. You talked about just learning the physiology of playing. Sometimes we just think only about the little digits, and really it's not just about the fingering, but it's our whole body that we become one with the piano, and whether we're playing legato or staccato, or we want arm weight, or it has to be the whole body. It's not just about fingers.
Right.
So that is a wonderful awareness. One of the things I often do with my students is that I will videotape them, and sometimes I don't even tell them I'm doing it. I'll just videotape them because they're coming up to performance, and then I'll play it back for them. And oftentimes they'll be like shocked and say, well, I didn't know I was just like keeping my mouth open the whole time that I was playing. But I'll say, well, that's why I wanted to show you what you look like. And here's just by moving your body and becoming one, it takes on a whole different performance and just appreciation for that piece. So, I know that I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the group exercises that you would do. So can you share with me what exactly does he mean by exercises at camp?
Most of the time, well, I shouldn't say all the time, but when you're practicing 4 to 5 hours a day, your body feels it. And with the stretching that he does at the end of the day, it loosens up the muscles, and it's probably, well, he uses a lot, to me, he reminds me of yoga technique.
Yes.
And so it's good for just life in general, because you can ease up those muscles and practice balance and all that other stuff.
Yeah, and that's so crucial. I mean, we talked a minute ago about the whole body experience and not just working on the fingers. So sometimes, you're kind of reminding me, you probably noticed that I just sat up a little taller, because so often for myself, I'm, glued to my computer for a good 10 to 12 hours a day. And if I'm not at the computer, I'm at the piano. So A or B, you're sitting down. And it is really important to be aware that your body needs to stretch and to move. And, I think it's just kind of, it's what we all should be doing, even though sometimes we don't. So what have you learned that's new, and what are you going to implement so that you've got something to say next year when you come to camp? That's what I learned last year. And now here I am implementing what I've learned.
Rami is one for, everybody talks about it. If you can, read his book, the fingering and redistribution of hands and that kind of thing, which makes the playing of the pieces that much easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I will also take that to my students also.
Yes, I do have his book, and it is wonderful. If our viewers don't have it yet, they should absolutely grab it. And the art of, piano fingering is, I think, something everyone needs to read. And oftentimes everyone thinks of it, but no one takes the time to actually write a book about it so that it can be easy for all of us. So I want to say thank you to Rami for that, because it does really help. And sometimes there's things in there that you don't even think about. And then you read it and go, oh, wait a minute. Why didn't I think of that? It always makes so much sense when someone else shares it with us, right?
Yeah. Well, he talked about it for years. Well, he finally did it, and I'm so appreciative of it.
Yes.
Because it helps a lot.
Well, you've got a great group of campers there. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your camp. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys. And thanks again for sharing the interview with me today. I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Tell us what's coming next. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you. This is a lot of fun getting to meet all the campers at camp. I want to say a big thank you to Rami for being with me today and letting all of your campers come hang out with us.
Yes, that was unbelievable at how they all, did it so well, and, getting onto this seat in time, kept quiet around.
There's lots of behind the scenes. So I want to share with our viewers, Rami, how can we learn more about the Rhapsody Piano Camp? And also, is there another one coming up that maybe people are interested, they could get registered?
I do my camp basically nowadays 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
2 are here in Utica, upstate New York. They are in June, as this one, and October. And then I have another camp the last week of March in San Francisco. We did already two camps. And I don't know, somebody asked me to come up to Canada to do a camp too.
Yay! Well, you and I are going to have to plan that one.
Yes.
Well, I just think that it's a wonderful opportunity for musicians at all levels, by creating a piano camp for adults. And, we heard the testimonials today from the campers that are there. They come from all walks of life, from a mom who is taking piano lessons with her son that wants to learn about piano playing to someone who's also a composer and performer in his own right, to others that are teachers. I mean, you really have everyone there, and they are all learning together and supporting each other. So you've created a wonderful community, Rami.
Yes, thank you. We also have doctors and lawyers and physicists and all. You're right, all walks of life.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go into the chat box after and just put in the link. I believe that the Rami's Rhapsody.tripod.com will enable others to get that information. Do I have that right?
I missed it.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. It is the Rami's Rhapsody.tripod.com.
Yes, there's another site that I think I may have given to you, but I don't know them by heart.
Okay.
I
All right.
I only know music by heart.
Okay, well, I'm going to go and put it in. I'll put it in the show notes after we're done. And have a fantastic music camp. Make sure you celebrate with everybody at the end of camp. And I know they're all going to look forward to coming back again next year to the next camp. So thank you for
Yes,
sharing.
we do celebrate plenty. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
And Glory, I am so thankful for your guidance in doing this and for having us on your program.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, Rami.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.